بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على نبي مصطفى وبعد. I think you would agree with me, as well as the viewers will find out, that by nature women are more emotional than men. Correct?
No comment.
Correct or no comment?
No comment.
So they are the sweet part.
Yeah.
So basically, when a man wants to get married, he's considering a lot of things, especially in Islam, because he's the one who's shouldering all the financial responsibility,
Mm.
the dowry, the house, the maintenance,
Mm.
supporting the family financially, and all of that. A woman is not actually required to do any of the above. So his considerations, not only because she is pretty,
Mm.
or because she is young, or because he likes her. There are many, many things that will go in the mind of the person before actually taking the serious step and proposing to her guardian
Mm.
or asking for her hand. While uh, by nature, again, if a woman sees a nice man who's speaking very sweet to her and he's promising a lot of things, even if they're not true, she would fall in love with him, most likely. So that's why there comes the role of the guardian in order to step in and to be free from the emotional part that the woman is experiencing and to do his homework, investigating, searching the background of the person and of the family. He's the one who's going to jump around and go to the neighborhood, go to his work and inquire about him, find out from his own sources about the true nature of this person, who's going to be his son-in-law, who's going to marry his daughter or the girl under his guardianship. It's a big responsibility. So simply, it's an advantage for women. She doesn't have to worry about that part. It is the responsibility of the ra'i. It is the
Mm.
responsibility of the wali or the guardian.
You know, it's interesting. It's important that we see it in that way. That it's actually a privilege of a
Mm.
woman, to have a guardian. The father who loves her. He has more experience. He's a lot older. He's experienced many more things in life.
Mm.
He can kind of weigh up who a man is just by looking at him almost.
I have a friend of mine who owns a company, and one of his employees, he hooked up with his girl, with his daughter, and he showed her, very nice face, and he made some remarks how much he appreciates her, how much he likes her, and she's the most beautiful woman on earth. And the girl fell in love with him
Mm.
accordingly because he's sweet to her. Okay. The father was talking to me that I don't feel good about this guy. He said, "Look, Muhammad, I don't mind giving my daughter off in marriage to somebody who's poor. But my instinct, I feel that this guy isn't the right person
Mm.
and he's bluffing." So, subhanAllah, he caught him on camera stealing.
Subhanallah.
Otherwise, there was no way to convince his daughter that this guy is after your money, after your dad's
Subhanallah.
money, is not after you.
Subhanallah.
Okay? So, this is one incident.
Mm.
So, the guy would set aside the emotions. And also, it's not only before the wedding, also during the process of the wedding, a person may convince his future wife or the bride, since I don't have the money now, I promise you once I have the money, I will pay you the dowry. I will take you to Spain and I will take you to Niagara Falls and. Hey, Habibi, we need to record that in writing.
Mm.
Who would dare to secure those rights other than the guardian?
Mm.
So how much can you afford to pay now? That much. And the deferred amount, write down a check
Mm.
because it's going to be a debt.
Mm.
Okay. And this money will go to the bride, not to her father, nor to
Mm.
the husband.
Yeah.
That will become her position. This is just one thing.
Yeah.
Many other commitments, the stipulation of the conditions, which we spoke about it before. Okay. Whether she needs to continue her education, whether she's going to be working or not. All of that. Who's going to secure those rights?
Mm.
If that woman fell in love with the guy
Yeah.
and he says everything, yes, okay, no problem, whatever you want
Yeah.
to, then after they get
Mm.
married, he locks her in.
Mm.
and everything evaporates, all the conditions, all
Yeah.
the خلاص, you're stuck
Like you
with
said,
him.
you mentioned this a few episodes back, where you know when someone has that true deep love, they're blinded and they're deaf,
You are
and
me
some and
ويوصل.
yeah, and the man or the guardian, you know, he can look at it from an outside perspective. You know, he can analyze it from a logical
He definitely
perspective,
does. He
and
definitely
look
does.
out for his
And his
daughter.
role is not over by handing over the bride or his
Mm.
daughter or his
Mm.
sister to
Mm.
the groom and
Mm.
say, enjoy it.
Mm. Now
It's
we did start to touch upon this in the last episode, but we didn't get a chance to finish it. But sometimes the guardian can be stubborn,
yeah.
and you know, as much as they may love their daughter, etc., sometimes they're overprotective, and there's no one good enough for their daughter.
Mm.
So what can uh, a woman do in this situation when her guardian is being overprotective, and literally they've turned down
Mm.
3 or 4 or 5 proposals?
Sure. This concept is called عضل.
Uh,
I would be more than happy to address it. But before I get into it, I'd like to bring to your attention that the role of the guardian
mm,
is not over once he hands over the girl under his guardianship to her husband, and that's it. And they close the door and it's over. Throughout their marriage life, there are ups and downs, especially in the first month and the whole year, as a
mm,
matter of fact. But most specifically in the first month, because two people never been together before, they meet, they have different habits, different practices, different traditions, so they will have a lot of problems. So, because the woman is by nature more emotional, so she may demand divorce.
mm,
She may call her dad and mom say, come and pick me up, I cannot live with him. The wisdom of the guardian, I was talking about a wise guardian, he's going to handle the situation wisely. A foolish one or somebody who's not responsible
mm,
will say, you don't know who is she and whose daughter is she.
mm,
Or if it is the mother who's handling the case, she would ask her daughter to come home immediately or go and
mm,
pick her up. And they will even be the husband and things of this nature. But we're talking about a wali with certain criterions, with certain qualities. He's a wise man, he's grown up, that's why he must be adult,
mm,
not a child, not somebody under the age of puberty,
mm,
somebody with experience. So now to come to your question about al-adl, you're saying such sweet things about the guardian and his responsibilities, and that's why Allah appointed him as in a charge for the family and on those who are under his guardianship. But what if he's not up to the responsibility? And that happens a lot. Somebody who doesn't want to give his daughter in marriage to somebody who is religious. Why? Because he himself is not religious. He drinks. He doesn't pray.
mm,
And mashallah, John is wearing beard and he's a person who prays on a regular basis, and he goes and he proposes to his daughter. So he says, we don't have any women for marriage, get out.
mm,
Why? He didn't even consult his daughter. Why? Because he doesn't want anyone religious in the house.
mm,
That is called adl.
mm,
He's preventing his daughter from marrying the right person.
Mm.
Or who could be the right person?
mm,
Does it mean that Allah the Almighty gave him the right to be a dictator? Of course not. No
mm,
one can say that. The Almighty Allah is the most fair. He's Al-Adl. So what is it? If a person abuses his role, he loses it.
okay.
If the guardian misuses the power of authority that Allah gave him, then he loses it. Yani,
So who gets that responsibility after
the
that?
guardian's in order is the father of the woman.
Mm,
And if he's not there, does she have a grandfather? Then he's number 2 in order.
mm,
Well, father and grandfather are dead or they're non-Muslims. So the son,
mm,
women who are married, their son, and then their sons grow up. And now she's a widow or divorced and she wants to get married. Her son can give her in marriage as a wali.
mm. So it's also always the male guardian,
Of
because
course.
what we
The
find.
hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, لا تزوج المرأة نفسها ولا تزوج المرأة المرأة. A woman should not give herself up in marriage, nor should she give another woman in marriage.
See, this is important, because I've actually witnessed this a lot, especially in the West, where maybe the father has passed away or the mother has divorced the father, so the guardian is not around,
Mm.
and then the mother of the bride
Mm.
will step in to be the guardian. Is this permissible?
No, there is an order, and no
Mm.
one can skip it, even if the couple are
Mm.
separated. Not
Mm.
because they're separated, the mother would just skip the
Mm.
order and would give her daughter in marriage, or even ask her brother, who will be the girl's maternal uncle, to give her in marriage. No,
Mm.
the father is there, and he fulfilled the condition. He is a Muslim, wise, practicing person.
Mm.
Alhamdulillah. And he is not mu'dal. Some people just say no for the sake of saying no. They want to hurt,
Yeah.
because they're separated. Okay, I'm not giving your daughter in marriage. She's also your daughter.
Mm.
Are you out of your mind? But stubbornness.
Yeah.
So if the person is abusing this power of authority, it will be withdrawn from him
Mm.
to be given to the next in order.
Mm.
Then the brother. Okay?
Yeah.
If we don't have any of those, any of the above, then we look for the judge, we look for the governor, we look for the imam of the masjid if we live in a non-Muslim community, so the imam of the Islamic center can play that role.